Welcome everybody to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Tower of God, episode 13, the finale of the show. I think it will be picked up for another season, but it's harder to say with anime than like if an anime gets popular, it's not as certain that it will get another season as like a Netflix show or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like whatever, a normal live action show, because there's just so many other things to pour for the producers to pour their money into. So it's hard. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think so
Should
far?
we talk about this after, or is this good to talk about?
It's
before we
just
see
what
how it wraps up. I guess
it just sort of came to me. I don't know. I guess we could talk about it more after, but I feel like it's popular enough that they could get another one. So
yeah.
I guess I just said the end of the show, not like the end of the season. So I was like, oh, is this the end? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Even if it might not be like maybe next year, but I think it will get at least a second season. I mean, the source material is so long to do only a 13 episode thing where they like apparently rushed and like crushed everything together so much, and it's still really popular, but everyone's like, why would you
Yeah,
why would you do that?
Yeah, even if you like the season, I feel like a lot of, at least most of the webtoon readers were like, why? Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Like maybe a 16 episode or a 26 episode or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it continues. I guess we'll see if I still hope it continues after this one. Obviously, last episode, fucking Rachel, the Tower of Betrayal.
Yeah.
As everyone's been saying, it's been kind of the meme catchphrase of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we're just ready to get right into the reaction. Honestly.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about what happened last episode in our discussion last time, so you can go check that out if you like. But we're going to get right into Tower of God episode 13. Hope you like the video. Hope you check us out on Patreon, where you can see early reactions and exclusive reactions, even for seasonal shows and weekly stuff that's currently airing. We post the uncut a few hours before the edited version is posted to YouTube, so you get it regardless early, even though it just came out today. So all the people on Patreon will have seen this if you're watching this on YouTube a couple hours early. So we hope you enjoy. And check out our Patreon, check out our backup channel, Boldcast Backup, check out our Instagram, @BoldcastMedia on Instagram, and check out our merch. That's also in the description. Links to all that will be in the description. Fuck all that. We're getting right into Tower of God, episode 13. Let's go. Okay. Tower of God, episode 13. What do you think?
Damn. It's pretty crazy. It was really crazy. It was still a satisfying end, though. I'll admit, it didn't go the way I would have thought.
I do wish that they spent less time literally giving us
a recap from Rachel's perspective,
because there was barely enough to like justify that much time being spent on it. Because like you don't need to be shown everything to realize that she was playing him from the beginning. That just her doing that sort of reframes everything in your mind. Like, I don't need to see every time that she said something to Bomb in order to realize that she had been fucking with him since the beginning. Like,
I did like that they showed us that very beginning, and she was there the whole time he took that first test.
I like that as well.
That was really cool. And how she wasn't even like it was such a horrible moment for her to see him succeed.
Yeah, it was devastating.
She's so, like, selfish and jealous of him. It's actually unbelievable how shitty she is.
Yeah.
It's so fucking bad. She's literally the worst kind of person. If like, we thought at first it was, like, a romantic relationship, but people have corrected us that it was, like, a mother-son type relationship, and that's even fucking worse. That's even worse. You, like, in this situation, you wouldn't want, like, someone who is basically, like, your child to succeed because they're doing better than you.
Yeah.
That's so messed up.
I mean, some parents are like that, too.
It's true.
Kinda fucked.
It's true, but she's just so horrible.
Yeah.
And and it's just so bad because it's not even that she can't admit, like, it's not even that she can't admit that she's not a star. Like, she knows she's not. And she knows that she pretty much will never be. But she's still trying to force it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like, oh, if I kill him, then I'll just become a star because he won't be hogging up all the space. But that's not how that works.
Yeah. I mean, so it's interesting that they use like the phrase "star" in referring to, because she wants to see a true knight. That's what she. That's at least that's what she said. I don't even know how true that is. I don't know what the fuck she actually is wanting to get out of this. I think she really just she doesn't even like wanting to see, like, having that end goal seems to be secondary at this point. But like the way that they phrase it, like, because she said originally that she wants to see a true knight, she wants to go and see the stars. But I mean, judging by her behavior so far, it seems like she's more concerned with just like Head-On said, basically.
Yeah,
pretty much
you,
exactly.
you don't want to see the stars.
You want to be one.
Yeah, you're lying.
But Bomb, he's more than just one star. He's an entire knight. That's what his name means.
But also, to Bomb, she is a star. Like, he's literally giving her what she wanted, but it's not enough.
It's exactly like we were saying, like when that reveal first happened, like earlier on in the series. How like what she wants isn't up the tower; it's literally right in front of her. But for some reason, she needs to feel special, so she's climbing the tower because she needs to feel special. Mm-hmm. It's not for any goal. It's just to satisfy yourself and to not feel so small. To want to feel important. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with actually doing something. It's just like what people do in real life. It's like, why are you trying to do all this shit? Why are you trying to like, you're not even trying to succeed. You're not even trying to like make a positive change in the world. You're not really trying to like, further people's understanding of anything. You're just doing shit because you want people to pay attention to you. And that's it. You know, like people do that all the time. It's like, oh, I'm pursuing this big goal. I want to, make this giant change. I want to bring whatever, something. I want to add to the world and, contribute. But then you take a deeper look and they're really just they just want people to pay attention to them. They just want to be special, and that's it. Mm-hmm. It's fucked up. And Bomb said answers aren't at the top of the tower. At the end, she was saying like, if you want the answer to why did she do this? What am I doing here? All the shit, all those answers, everything you want is at the top of the tower. And obviously, like we've talked many times, as the series has gone on, we've been talking less about the metaphor because it seems less important to the story. Yeah. Like they laid the groundwork, and that's what this is all about. So talking about it every episode is kind of pointless. But they really brought it back this time. And sort of solidified that vision and that metaphor for everything that's going on in that final conversation, in that final scene, because at least the way I see it, she was like the redheaded chick. She was just like, all the answers you want. I'm not gonna try and like tell you. You can get what you want by working to achieve your goals and climbing the tower. Move towards your goal. That's how you'll get what you want. And then he's just like, no. The answers don't lie at the top of the tower. I will find the answers, and I can only find them by climbing. So it's not about the end goal. He recognizes, and that's important in life as well, it's not always about the fucking wishing upon a star. It's not all about reaching for the stars. It's not about climbing the tower or reaching the end, the finish line. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And you learn more about yourself and everything around you by working towards something, not by getting there. Like it's possible that he'll never get to the top of the tower, but he'll get a deeper understanding of himself, of Rachel, and of the world by having more experiences and moving towards a goal. So and that's a mistake that a lot of people like Rachel, who are like resentful, jealous of people who have this whole circumstance kind of easier for them. Because Rachel's looking at it and is like, she doesn't even actually understand the mistake that she's making. She's just like, I want to climb the tower and I want to see the stars, not realizing all of the shit that Head-On said is completely true.
Yeah. Because, like, she literally gets told, like, Bomb, like, you're special to him.
Yeah.
You are a
Everything
star
you
in his
want
eyes.
is
And
him.
She's just like, okay, but... Like, she kind of acknowledges it, but she won't, like, accept it, really.
Because it's not about... And even if she could be satisfied, like, that just proves that that's not really what she wants. Like exactly like Head-On said. Head-On put it perfectly in so few words. But it's like... And I literally said this when she said, like, I want a true knight. And then it goes to fucking Bomb's face. And then it's just like... Yeah... I mean, right there, his name is Knight. Like, it is his name. He looks upon you as you could only dream that anyone would look on you. Like, he is everything that you want. He can give you everything that you want. But that's not good enough, because it's being given to you. Mm-hmm. And you're not satisfied with that.
It's also interesting that she was never even meant to get into the tower at all.
Yeah.
He was.
It was only because she begged and was so disgusting.
Oh, I thought it was just because he was there. Like,
really?
Because Bomb got in, like, a couple, like, slightly later. Right after, pretty much.
I think Head-On is, like, looking down on this whole situation and is like, something special is going on here. And she just kept begging and pleading.
Oh, I thought she was like, oh, you're not the right person who was supposed to be in here.
Who, Bomb? Who?
Head-On said that, I'm pretty sure.
Said that to Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
yeah, she was waiting for Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she originally wasn't supposed to, but she did get in. Like, the reason she got in was because of this whole drama.
I thought she just got in because they were in such, like...
Close proximity? Well, I mean, it was a choice. Like, it's not like a machine. She didn't, like, sneak in. She was let in by somebody. Right?
I guess, yeah.
Because, like, Head-On's kind of like the gatekeeper. I don't know, like...
It just seems weird because he seemed like, oh...
Well, then how did she get in if she was, like...
I guess, yeah.
She didn't, like, sneak in. She literally had that whole conversation before and after Bomb was there. So... By the way, I don't know what the deal with those paintings on the wall at this, like, in Head-On's little area. There's some creepy... There's, like, a serpent and a man and a dragon or something. At, like, the very beginning. I kind of want to see it again. I don't know if we'll be able to see it.
What? Right here.
Yeah, there's, like, a pterodactyl looking thing. It's kind of like a dragon. And then there's another thing that's, like, more like a beast.
It looks like a pig with wings.
It has, like, horns. I guess pigs have horns. Boars. But it has, like, feathery wings. It kind of looks like a griffin, sort of. Mm-hmm. But it has, like, claws. I don't know. Really cool mythological figures.
Can you just play it for a second? I just want to see what he says.
We're at, like, 120, by the way.
This is the peak of my life, she says.
Yeah. What did you want to see?
I just wanted to see what he said when...
Oh, are we watching
It's not
the rest
you. Huh? The tower wasn't calling you.
Yeah, I wasn't disagreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't disagreeing with you. But she still got in.
Yeah, because... Yeah, when...
But not because she snuck under the radar, because Bomb was there.
I thought that you meant she didn't get in the first place, but she didn't get into the tower because she begged. I mean, she got into the tower because she begged, but she got into, like, Head-On's area by accident. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she's also an irregular, right?
I guess, I mean,
you can't get, like...
I guess anyone who gets in without, like...
Yeah, so then it wasn't technically an accident, but, like, the tower wasn't calling you. She barged in there because she's, like, reaching above her station, basically. Head-On's basically saying, like, this isn't the place for you. But she's saying, no, it is the place for me. It is the place for me. I can go. I can do this. Please give me a chance. I can do this. And he's just like, it's not going to work out. I'm telling you right now. Like, seriously, you don't even want what you think you want. So, like, this doesn't mean anything to you. And she's just like, no, I can do it. I can climb the tower. I can do it. And he's just like, I mean, sure, if you really want to, I'll let you try. But I'm telling you right now, like, you don't actually even want this.
No.
You just think you do because you want to be special. But I'm just going to let you figure that out, so here you go. And your reckoning will come eventually. But don't, nothing I'm gonna say basically is going to let you know that you're fucking wrong, because it's so worked into everything that she is that she literally can't be convinced otherwise. The only thing that's going to convince her is her either dying or hating herself for, like, betraying the person that loves her most, and, like, because that clearly is damaging her. Like, that's something important to talk about. Like, at the end, she's, like, laughing because she fooled everyone and, like, but she still is, like, conflicted, and she always was conflicted, but she's so wrapped up in herself that it doesn't matter to her.
Yeah.
But it did seemingly fuck her up that she was capable of that. But it doesn't matter.
But she's not mad about it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how badly she feels about it, because she still did it. She still wanted to do it. She had multiple opportunities to stop or to change her path. Like, that's the thing. She's all convinced because Head-On said that. She can't even think for herself. Like, she can't think, like, oh, maybe if I gave it a try, maybe if I gave it the old college try, and, like, actually, maybe I don't need to do what he says. Maybe I can form my own destiny.
Well, she thought that for a second. She's like, maybe I can climb the tower with him. And then she's like, nah.
No, this is the opportunity. This is the sign that I've been waiting for. And, like, she just has been following everyone else's. Like, all of her strength and her power was given to her by Head-On as a handicap because she is so fucking worthless. Like, she doesn't have any fighting ability, so she was given this bodyguard.
Yeah, and I guess the way that worked is, like, she would have died there when she got stabbed.
Got, like, a one-up.
Yeah.
Basically.
Which is really crazy. That's really cool. Because you noticed that he was, like, attached to her.
Yeah, well, when she got stabbed in the back, he was like, ugh,
yeah.
And then disappeared. And then Rock was like, Silent Man, where did you go?
But it was, like, to me at least, it was unclear whether she, like, created
true.
that or not.
Whether it was, like, her ability.
Yeah, whether she was, like, there's some kind of, like, magic that she could use to, like, create
or summon or take control of or something.
Mm-hmm. But it turns out that he was literally just given to her.
Yeah. So even with that advantage, technically she did use that advantage to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it saved her.
Yeah.
But
I feel like she has a really, maybe it seems like she has a really sort of, she clings too much to the idea of destiny and what's meant to happen, because she was, like, going over that, like, moment where she got stabbed and because she got told to, like, read the signs correctly or whatever, and she's just like, was that correct? Well, it must have been, because now I'm in this position to do this. So, but it seems like no matter what you do in your life, you can look at it as destiny if that's the way that you want to look at something.
Yeah.
And you want to say, it was meant to be this way, so I have to take this opportunity because of these other things. When really she could have made a different choice there, and she would have wound up in a different situation. That, you know, it would have been different, and she doesn't accept the fact that it could have been different. She just thinks that, this is exactly what was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. She's like one of those. She's like someone who. She's like people who follow a very traditional path in life, who or who people who think that they're rebelling by, like, I don't know, by going into a field that maybe their parents didn't want them to go into, but they're still like going to business school or something, and then they like follow like a very traditional path of I go to school, I get a job, etc., etc., and they follow a very traditional thing where everything's kind of laid out for them, and then when they see somebody who like is taking huge risks and like not not following a traditional path, they didn't go to school but they're like wealthy or really successful, like when like she's like one of those people who's just like, well, fuck them, because they like why am I not that special, why can't I have that, when she's just like she's being literally led around by the nose by like all of these other forces that are out of her control, and she doesn't actually know what she wants. She thinks that she wants something, but she really just wants what somebody else has, and doesn't understand that they're doing different things to get it. Like Baum is making choices for himself. He's like questioning the path. Like when redheaded girl told Rachel, follow the signs, do this or that, she said, okay, good, all right, I'll follow the signs, I'll do what I need to do, and I'll climb the tower. When Baum is told, climb the tower, do what you need to do, that's how the game's played, you gotta play it, that's how you'll get what you want. And he's just like, fuck you, I'll do what I want. What I want is to climb the tower because of these reasons, not even to get to the top. I just want to find out answers, and I'm not gonna do that by following your prescripted course through my life towards my goals. My goals don't lie at the top of the tower. And he's just like, he's very he thinks like very outside the box compared to like someone like Rachel, who thinks that there's only one way to get places, and it's by moving directly forward through every obstacle and, you know, taking the opportunities that come towards you as fast as possible without like considering, you know, like without actually thinking about anything.
Yeah. And now freaking the whole gang is ready to take her up the tower. That's
except for Khun.
Yeah,
Khun at the beginning was like, yeah, and then I think he must have had a thought like, something isn't right here, because then when they were looking at each other, he sort of saw through her, and then like looked at her. I forget what he said at the end, but he was just like, they had a conversation, and then she was just like, oh well, I guess that's just what happens. And then he's just like, yeah, I thought so, or whatever. He didn't say anything after that, but you could tell he wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna do this
on board with that.
I'm gonna do this for Baum. And then she's just like, yes, do it for Baum and for me. Or, I don't know. I don't know how long she'll be able to keep it up.
He's not climbing the tower for really the end goal either. He's doing it because he wants a change.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's like a revolutionary.
Yeah, so I doubt like, some of the other people are like, we owe it to Baum to get Rachel to the top of the tower. And he's like, sure, I'll bring her along, but I'm gonna make my own decisions along the way about whether I still want to keep doing what we're all doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how long she'll be able to keep up the charade for everyone else.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know how long she can keep faking that she's paralyzed.
Yeah, that's right. Well, she does have a huge team to protect her. Far bigger than...
Yeah, she
most
won't be
people who climb the tower.
I don't think she'll be in much danger. There might be a challenge that comes where they're going to have to protect her, and they might fail, and something might get past the wall of bodies that are between her and the danger, and she might have to reveal herself. But even if that doesn't happen, I don't understand how all these people can be pledged to you. Like if all these people are so hell bent on like helping her, there's going to come a time where like they come and help her and she's like having a shower standing up or something, and they walk in on her and they're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you just can't keep up that lie forever, you know? You can't keep that up forever. Like, and they're gonna be suspicious of you, because if you're not just lying about the fact that you're in a wheelchair, you're lying about what happened to Baum, or you're just everything about your personality,
your goals, and about literally everything.
She's literally fabricated a fake version of herself because that's what she thinks that people will like and what will help her climb the tower. But that's not how it works.
So messed up. But we do know that Baum and Rachel are gonna meet again.
Yeah, eventually.
It's been prophesized.
And Baum is... Wait, I just want to check that end screen, that last thing of... that last shot of like a mushed up, crushed up, sliced up monster, and then a guy standing there. We both thought it was Bomb, like after the training. By the way, do we know the redhead girl's name? I feel like we do, but I'm just forgetting it. Kaminoto. Yeah, we're just watching that last scene. 21, 25, 26, 27, 28. Welcome. Is that what the tower looks like? Fuck. Was it after this painting part?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, that looks like him. Fucking badass ponytail. So, like, years must have passed at this point, unless his hair grows super fucking long really fast.
I think that it's been a lot of years.
He looks way older. He looks way more mature.
Mm.
He looks like he's maybe, like, 18, 19, 20. Because he was, like, what, 15? I guess they never said his age.
No one's age has ever
No one's
been
age,
said.
yeah.
I've kind of been spoiled on age stuff, so.
Oh, okay. I have, too, about... I guess I won't say specifically what, but some people are, like, hundreds of years old. Yeah. Yeah, we got spoiled on that for one of the characters that was first introduced.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I guess, like...
He does look like he's grown physically, though.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
And he doesn't look more muscular. He just looks, like, more formidable. Like, his shoulders are back. He's standing up straight and, like...
More, like, confident.
Yeah, way more confident. He looks like, I don't know, just the way his arms are. He's, like, kind of more ready. Like, his shoulders are back, chest forward, looking out to the horizon.
With majestic hair blowing in the wind.
Yeah, long as fuck, literally down to his ankles, it looks like. Yeah. Well, I guess it'll be interesting to see how he feels about... I mean,
and,
he
like,
said
what
that...
he learns.
I just don't want it... What I'm worried about is that he'll be resentful, or that he'll... Because, like, in the beginning, I think Yuhan Sung... Yeah, it was when Yuhan Sung was first introduced, and Kun... there was a lot of symbolism in that episode with the clock puzzle. Mm-hmm. How they went through the barrier of Shinsu created by Leroro, and Kun, like, had his bag, like, his bag was being pulled at by the barrier, and it was, like, hard to get through. Turns out it was because he was, like, hiding people in there. But it was a metaphor for the baggage that he's carrying as well, because then Yuhan Sung was like, you have a very heavy bag there, don't you? And that was him saying, I know what you're doing, I know what you're up to, but it's also him saying... Because it was also the Kun backstory episode. He was just like, you got a lot of baggage. There's some heavy shit that you're carrying right now. And it's not just the people in your bag, it's you. And he also said something like, in reference to Bomb, it was just after they first met, obviously. They were like, they hardly knew each other, but they were starting to form a bond. And Yuhan Sung was just like, don't you want to protect the eyes that don't know grief or something? Something like that. Basically, don't you want to protect Bomb's, like, optimism and innocence?
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way too when I look at Bomb, like, all hardened and, like, having just defeated killed and mangled a monster, looking out towards the horizon, very, like, ready for what comes next. It both has me, like, kind of proud that he's, like, grown, it seems like, but also, like...
He didn't want that.
He just wanted shit to be like it was. He didn't want this, like, conflict. He didn't want to have to, like, climb the tower. He was content with where he was, and that's a perfectly, like, mindful and justified way of being. Like, again, going back to, like, real life, because this is, like, climbing the tower and all this stuff, I've said it a million times, it's all... This entire show, and what I actually like about it so much, is that it's all, like, a metaphor for achieving your goals, for, like... It's a very, like, adolescent into adulthood, that sort of slice. That's why, like, when Rachel's just like, this is the peak of my life. That's what she means. Like, in terms of, like, a metaphor, she's thinking, I need to go out and fucking, I need to go to school. I need to get a job. I need to climb that corporate ladder. I need to get as far ahead as I can in life right now, because this is the peak of my life. I need to fucking do what I need to do, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to climb that ladder. or climb that tower, haha. But Baum is just like, I mean, he came from nothing, but he's content to just live a nice life. He doesn't need, he doesn't see the need for just climbing the tower for the sake of satisfying or gratifying your sense of self-worth. He has a very high sense of intrinsic value, I guess. He doesn't need to question existence and his place in the world in order to feel happy. So the fact that he's standing there and he's looking out towards the horizon, something greater, the fact that he now has something that he wants outside of just being happy and being with Rachel is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have like he doesn't need an extrinsic source of value in order to feel fulfilled. You know?
But yeah, it's kind of funny because
I just hope he's not resentful.
It's just really rare to even. I was just thinking about this. It's really rare to even have the main character of a show, like, have that way of like existing and have that way of thought. Because we're else like, it's say we were watching, I don't know, Naruto, and he was just happy having. He had a
eating ramen,
he had a
and
shitty life, but he was really happy with it, and he didn't want to reach something greater. Well, then there'd be literally no show.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting with this show how they take someone like that, and they still make like with all the other characters, like create a story.
Yeah.
Because Baum by himself,
there's no like driving
story.
force.
Yeah.
That's why they say, I think that's why it's like, this is the story of a girl named Rachel who climbed the tower, because first of all, she sees herself that way. She sees herself, this isn't Baum's story. This is my story. I'm the main character. I'm the fucking star. I'm the star of this fucking show. Fuck this guy. I'm gonna do what I want. And, I'm not gonna just follow him around. But
he get dragged along anyway.
I just lost my train of thought. I'm trying to figure out what I was saying. But, yeah. Yeah, you're right, though. It is, because there's no conflict there. It's like, without Rachel, there literally wouldn't be a story. Like, because Baum, like, wants to be with her, but it's hard, because he didn't have anything. Like, Rachel's all he had, but,
recording limit.
Oh, recording limit.
But
yeah, I don't
also,
know.
But, like, also, he's just a very content person.
Yeah.
Because even just, like, he's able to, like, relax and hang out with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's just content to do that. He doesn't
have a fucking ego at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an ego. He's optimistic and willing to help people, and that's it. He's super admirable. But the whole point, and there's a lot of religious, like we talked in the first episode about all the religious symbolism, how the stars were like stars of David. I thought that was interesting. I mentioned that, and I was like, oh, that's a weird, like maybe they just drew the stars like that. No, there's like clear like religious symbology throughout the show, and he's clearly, like, Baum is clearly like Jesus. He's clearly like the Messiah, the Savior, the person who's not supposed to be there. Everyone else was sort of brought there. He brought himself here. He's not like anyone else. He has powers that everyone can't comprehend. And he is fully virtue and optimism. Like, he has no hatred in his heart at all, or resentment. But his story is just like Christ. Is he was betrayed by the people he trusted most. And all these people loved him, but then fucking Judas over here, who he trusted as much as anyone, stabs him in the back, and now, but I guess this where the story changes is I don't know whether he's going to. I don't know what's gonna happen after he comes out after 3 days of being in the cave or whatever. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if he's gonna be have just as much virtue after his rebirth.
Yeah, I wonder even how... Because we know that this is a prologue, and that's glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
With this last little end bit. But yeah, I really am curious to see like where it will pick up. Will we pick up like at this point where he's like gazing out onto the horizon? How long has passed? Like how far in the ascent of the tower are they relative to each other, like Rachel and Baum, and like what happened with fucking the whole group with Rachel and Kun, and are they all still together?
Mm-hmm.
Did some of them die? Like,
yeah, what's happened? A lot can happen.
Lot can happen.
And go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
And just like the fact that we know that they're gonna meet again, but they said it's gonna be a long time, which means a lot of time means a lot of things are gonna change.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I hope there's just a big fucking time jump. I hope, like, if they do, like, I hope that he doesn't just, like, train and then they're on floor 5 and then he shows up. I hope they're on, because, like, Shibisu has the key to Yuri's thing on floor 77. What if they're at floor 77 and we, like, I imagine we're going to pick up with about right here, but we're going to see the first episode, or, like, a first little bit will be him, part of his training and part of him growing and realizing things. And then he's gonna climb, and I bet he just shoots up the fucking tower, like, faster than anyone, and he catches up with them super quick. And then there's a fucking reckoning with Rachel. I think that might encompass the story of season 2, depending on how long season 2 is. That's my guess, but I've been wrong with the show a lot, so it's hard to say. But I'm definitely excited. This going into, I guess, do you want to get into, like, our whole show? Going into the show, and for the first little bit, it seemed like someone was trying to clone Hunter x Hunter with the skin of Demon Slayer. That's what it seemed like to me. They wanted to make, like, a shonen, but they wanted something a little bit different, so they went with a manhwa, and it's a battle shonen, and it's a tournament arc, and there's all these cool powers, all these cool designs, lots of colors, very unique in art style with all of its flat character designs, and everything looks very, like, solid colors and all that stuff. But it seemed to be like and there was, like, some stuff, like all the religious symbolism and all of the metaphor about achieving your goals. From the beginning, it even with all of its positives, it still did seem like a new trendy shonen, new trendy whatever, this or that, like the thing that would become popular. It seemed very factory produced, and I still can't deny that I have that feeling when I watch the show, that it is very clinical in its presentation. But I'm definitely excited. Like, I would definitely want to watch a season 2 of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm especially at the end here, and with the betrayal of last episode, and seeing how the stories are or how the characters are evolving, I'm definitely excited, and I would be excited to see another season.
Yeah, like, when we first started the show, I really didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
I was like, this is okay, but I'm not invested. And I really wish that this season had been, like, 24, 25 episodes
Agreed.
Long. Just because a lot of the times I felt like we were missing out on things that, like, we should have known by this point.
Yeah.
Just about the world and about whatever. Like, some people's backstories got touched on, some people's didn't, and maybe that's saved for later. But I didn't feel attached to the characters for most of the show, which is kind of a problem in a show that has a lot of, like, really great characters with a lot of potential, and if you don't really do anything with that, it's kind of a waste. But I feel like if they just had more time, because obviously all these people have, like, this crazy bond that they're so willing to, like, do anything for Baum, and, like, we're taking his wheelchair-bound girlfriend up the tower for him. But, like, I feel like if they had just had a bit more time, we would have seen those bonds really, like, develop. Not just like, oh, one day we're signing this shitty friends list, and then the next day we're, like, actually, like, we would die for each other.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's my, like, biggest complaint, is there just wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with, like, the story, really, because, like, we know that, like, so many chapters were put into, like, a single episode, and it's impossible to do that without sacrificing something. So, yeah. I did like the show, and I'm excited for season 2, but I hope that since, like, this is a pretty popular right now,
yeah.
so I'm hoping with the success, they will give it
the time
that it deserves, and the time that it needs.
It does seem like this was, I mean, everyone's like, oh, this is I feel like people, my big problem with the fan base for this show so far is that so much of the criticisms we have, everyone has tried to explain it away with, oh, it's just a prologue, oh, it's just a prologue, oh, it's, you know, don't worry about anything, just enjoy what it is. It's a prologue, don't try and think too much into it, everything will be explained eventually. You know, all of its faults, it's fine, it's just a prologue. It was longer in the webtoon, they skipped over this, here's some information from the webtoon to fill that gap. And it's like, I understand that like, the story went deeper, and that there was more explored in the webtoon. And I understand that this isn't the actual story, that this is just a prologue to the actual story that's going to happen. But that doesn't excuse the glossing over of key world details and key character progression time. Like, you can't go from I don't know you to fucking I will die for you and take up your reason for living in a few episodes. That's a big problem, and you can't explain that away with this isn't the actual story, this is just setup, because the
whole point of setup is to set it up and so that the relationships are there when we move into the next part. There's no point of having setup if it just doesn't really set anything up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're not saying that, like, the story's bad, but we're just saying, and, like, I'm sure obviously the source material was fantastic and really fleshed everything out, but we're saying that, like, we just wish that there was more time in the show.
Apparently not, by the way. Like, a lot of times people are like, oh, the webtoon explained this. But then, like, I explain what, like, earlier when we were replying to comments, I'd be like, I don't understand this. I don't get why this is this or that. And then someone's just like, oh, they explained that in the webtoon. This is the answer to that question. Or further down the line, it's explained that this thing is that. And, like, it would have been better if that was explained earlier. It's not really a spoiler, etc., when it pretty much is a spoiler if you're telling us something that doesn't happen for... Anyway. But a lot of the times, the answers, at least to the world-building stuff, that the world-building seems to be a big hole in, like, the lore of this. Or, like, it seems like the author was focusing directly on the plot and not on why all these things were brought together. I don't think even the author really was concerned with, like, what is the tower? Where do all these people come from? It was sort of a given that all of, like, just forget it. Just... accept that there's all this stuff outside the tower. You don't need to see that. What matters is what's happening right here. That was sort of the idea. So the author, like, explained a lot of these details in, like, interviews or supplementary material or posts on his blog or whatever. But that's not an excuse for not including that and not giving us an understanding of the world and where the characters come from. If you say like, oh, Serena or whatever was like a ship, like she stole into ships and stole things, and it seems very like medieval times, and then you see a guy with a sniper rifle and you're like, what, are they in the same world, or is there like multiple dimensions? Like, you can't just, and I've said it a million times, that stuff isn't just like, don't worry about that, what matters is what's happening here. Well, I don't have a sense of how much everything matters if I can't rank it against what's going on outside. I don't know how important it is to climb the tower, or how much everybody's risking, or the sort of complementary power level of, say, the King of Jahad versus whatever the ruler of Rock's fucking people outside, or the Kuhn's family, or etc., etc. You can't ask me to go that far into not having zero understanding, but just letting you drag me along and like feed me information, while also asking me to theorize about what's going on. If I don't have that information, then I can't form theories, and if you're trying to surprise me, that's cool, but it's hard for us to engage. And once we did get some of that information, like with the princesses, with how powerful they are, with what it takes to become a princess, then we got attached to Endorsi and Anak.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until we understood what they went through up to that point, or not even what they went through, just what the stakes were, what they actually were, what the significance of being a princess was, and the rules therein. Like, we didn't know what Anak's fucking chip on her shoulder was until we know that her mom was a princess. She went against the rules. She died.
Yeah.
That's important information to know and to get us ingratiated to the characters. So that's been our biggest problem with the series. But it also is it would have been smoothed over, like you said, if they had more time. If it wasn't just...
If there was more time, and even if, like, for me at least, even if there was less even if there was the same amount of, like, world building, but they've spent more time on the characters, and I had gotten really invested in the characters early on, then I would have been focusing less on, like, what does this... what does this mean? If I knew who they were, and how they, like, if I knew who they were and got an idea of where they came from in the outside world just based on how they interacted with each other.
Yeah.
And then you got a couple backstories, like Kuhn's backstory and, like, the princess's backstories, and then you're like, okay, and then this is how they behave with other people. Okay, well, that sort of gives me an idea of, like, how they all fit together as a group.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, we're all coming from different places, we never knew each other before, we're writing our names on this list, and now we're, like, the best of friends. Even Parasol over here is, like, in our group.
Yeah.
Even though we hate him, like... But, yeah, I'm just saying, it's not disbelievable, but that was the final result. It's just, it seemed very sudden because they didn't
spend enough time
and explore relationships further.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That would be my number one complaint with this show.
Yeah.
Because it's really interesting. And, like, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So, that's I think that's a fine criticism. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I wish I had more time with the characters so that I could get more familiar with them before all this plot stuff happens. Because when they're, like, facing danger, and then out of nowhere they're just like, but Bomb's my friend, like, but I believe in Bomb, or I believe in Kuhn, or whatever, and it's like, why? Because you guys, like, drank together at the cafeteria table a couple times?
Yeah.
Like, that's not, like, okay, cool, you you had a cool conversation, but now you're, like, risking your lives for each other, and it doesn't track for me. And I think that's a fine criticism. My problem is, I guess, more with the fan base, that a lot of the fan base can't really take that criticism. They take it as, oh, well, if you read this is like an inferior version of it. So if you guys read the webtoon, then you guys might have had a different experience, or I had this experience. I wasn't questioning that when I read it, because I got to the, like, I was, when you're catching up on a series, like if you're binging a fucking manga or a book or a book series or something, you're more willing to overlook character flaws like that, or writing flaws, I guess, or not even necessarily, I guess, yeah, writing flaws, but like rushing things or not spending enough time here or there, because you have so much more material to get through that eventually it will make sense going on. You can have that faith. But for us, when we're just watching a 13 episode anime week to week, we have a week to think about the 22 minutes that we had there, and things are skipped over, or they're like rushed through. I can't excuse it with it's just a prologue, or eventually it'll get worked out. That's when we're criticizing something, and it might get worked out, and a lot of our criticisms usually are just like, I didn't understand why fucking this person cared about this person so much, or I don't understand how they got so close so fast. And knowing that's explained further doesn't help where we are right now. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people use it's a prologue as an excuse for they rushed through it. And I really don't like that. I feel like that's really thin, and that's really, like...
And
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess also we're allowed to, like, to not like the way that they did something but still like the show.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that as well.
Yeah, just because we have all these criticisms, it doesn't mean, like, that we don't like the show. Like, I don't know. And it's with any show. Like, sometimes we make fun of Naruto, and then people take that as we don't like the show because we're not taking it seriously. But everyone's different, and everyone's allowed to enjoy content different, and everyone's going to have different opinions on the way that things were handled. Some people don't care. Like, some people watch anime, literally don't care about the story, just like the fights.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but that's not us.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, with our backgrounds of, like, both of us have backgrounds in, like, creative writing and script writing, specifically, and, like, theater and film. So, like, bringing the knowledge that we literally, like, went to school for, and, like, especially Carson has spent so much time, like, taking note of, like, how things are done in story building and world building and character building. Like, I guess I'm just trying to say, like, we have criticisms, but that doesn't take away from our enjoyment of the show most of the time.
Yeah.
We can look at it separately.
And we just have a different perspective. That's all.
Yeah, we have a different perspective than... and, I mean, we might not even be talking about this much if we were just watching this on our own. We might just watch it and then forget about it.
Yeah, like if we were... That's a big thing you have to pay attention to. And I think a lot of people take that for granted when people watch reactors and they're just like, well, why the fuck are you focusing on that? Like, why does that really matter that much? Like, can't you just fucking let that wash over you? Just let that one detail wash over you and enjoy the rest of the show. Because, like, they see it as... people watch reactors and they're just like, you criticize this one detail. Is that really worth, like, letting this entire experience go to waste? Because they think, like, when they get a detail like that, they're just like, or a grading detail or something that kind of bumps them, they're just like, okay, whatever. I like everything else that's going on. I won't even mention. I'll just put that out of my mind because I can, and I'm watching it, and all this other stuff that I like is happening, and that's really cool. And on the flip side, a lot of people, like reactors or reviewers or whatever, when they hear people getting mad at them. Okay, this is difficult to explain. I'm gonna lay this out. So, like, I've seen a lot of reviewers and reactors get comments when they criticize a show or something. A lot of the comments are saying this sort of thing of, like, just overlook that detail, just don't worry about that too much, and just watch it and enjoy it, and it'll be fine. They see that as, like, turn your brain off, and they really don't like that comment because they're just like, what? You're seriously asking me to just turn my brain off? What? How do you even do that? How do you get to the point? It's getting really bright. Sorry about that, people. They don't like people saying don't think. They think that the viewers are asking, like, well, just fucking be a dum-dum and don't think about stories and don't consider plot lines and plot holes and all this stuff. But what people are really saying is, like, don't let the small shit ruin the experience of this great piece of media that literally, like, impacted me in such a huge way. I don't see why you have to let this tiny thing ruin your experience, when really both people, I think, are misunderstanding. The reactor reviewer who is, like, commenting on a small detail that the writer overlooked or, like, didn't spend enough time on, they still enjoy it. They're just watching it in a completely different circumstance. We're watching this not just for ourselves, but for content. Like, we are enjoying everything that's going on. Like, I wouldn't have noticed that if you didn't point that out. Why the fuck? And I think that's part of it too. It's like, like, us pointing stuff out ruins in a weird way. They're forced to have to defend it, but if it's an indefensible thing, like a shitty piece of animation or, like, a poor choice on behalf of the production, then it's just like they're thinking on, you know, dissecting this portion of the show that didn't grab my attention, that I don't even enjoy. I don't even pay attention to this kind of shit normally, but because these reactors or these reviewers had, like, said this stupid thing about this thing that doesn't even matter, now I have to put all this brain power into paying attention to the faults of this thing that I love, when I usually don't do that. I usually just enjoy the things that I love. I think that's part of it too. But anyway, that's all. That I guess the reason that we're talking about this so much is because Tower of God has been especially harsh, especially the viewers with stuff like this. Because Tower of God's the only series that we don't read the comments for.
Yeah.
Because people are so crazy about spoiling it and about, like, Tower of God viewers just literally cannot keep their thoughts to themselves. They have to explain things. And they have to, like, fully...
And that's not everyone. There are some respectful people in the comments.
It's most people who comment. Be honest here.
No, I'm just saying, like, there are some... 90%
of the people who comment.
There are some people, but it's disproportionate to this show. Like, the amount of people who like to spoil or think that they're not Actually, it's mostly people who, like, think that they're not spoiling but are spoiling.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying that they're, like, shitty, necessarily. They just... Like, a lot of... It is most of the commenters. A lot of the people who are fans... I've noticed, like, don't even comment and, like, whatever. They just keep their spoiler discussions to spoiler forums. But a lot of the people who watch and comment on Tower of God, I've noticed, are, like, they just enjoy it so much that they literally can't help themselves when they're when they start writing a comment, and we say something that, like, bumps against their enjoyment of the show, they're just like, they can't help but, like, get it out of them because it's, like, such a minor thing to them, but but the show is so grand and huge that, like, if I can just explain this one thing with one tiny spoiler that's not even that much of a spoiler, like, it's something that happens way later, but it's not really a spoiler because it doesn't impact the end of the show or the end of the series or the main development of the story, when really what they're doing is actually spoiling. Like, but they literally can't help themselves, so they'll justify it with all this stuff. Yeah, it's a real problem, and that's why we're talking about it so much, just because this is the only show where we have this problem with. We don't have any other shows where we can't look at the comments. Not even the Attack on Titan trailer. No. Like, people didn't spoil it in the comments there, at least not that we saw. Probably there's a couple. But yeah, it's just it's just important to mention in this series, and I think that the fact that that's the case with the fans here, I think does lend credence to our points of just because it's a prologue doesn't mean there aren't flaws, or that we should overlook them. And it doesn't excuse all of the issues with this adaptation. Just because this is a prologue and just because this is an adaptation of the prologue doesn't mean that all of these flaws or these issues don't exist. And just because there is an explanation down the line or in a blog post, etc., does not remedy the issues that we have watching the show week to week, I guess, is how you can distill that whole thing.
And also, since it's an adaptation, I mean, like, any adaptation, no matter how perfect and pristine the source material, taking something and putting it on a screen changes it. No matter what it is, it's completely different. And like, we aren't reacting to the story, we're reacting to the whole package of how they presented it as a show. Yeah. So, and I mean, even if we were watching something like the Attack on Titan, I'm sure we would, something that's like really renowned as being like a great show, I'm sure some things were done that like aren't optimal for the story's progression, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
There's considerations both ways. Yeah, I just... That's a long time to spend on that, I guess, for the end of the show, but it is important because I feel it's gotten to the point where we feel like we can't criticize the show without having to explain, like, go have this entire conversation. And because we know that people are going to spoil it. And that's a rough thing, but we do enjoy the show despite everything that we say about it. And especially at the end of this season, I would like a season 2 to happen. I would like to see a season 2. The only thing I wouldn't like them to change. I've grown. The art style has grown on me. I like it more and more, and I hope that they at least keep the art style. What I don't want them to do if they do a season 2 is keep this, like, need to make everything fucking huge and make everything explosions and all this stuff and make everything so grand and insane unless that's
how it is.
Unless it's actually meant to be like that, because so much, especially earlier in the series, but still, like, even a character gets punched and there's a giant smoke cloud from the force and everything and they get shaken and thrown against a wall and it cracks. It's like Dragon Ball Z, and it's like, I mean, why can't they just... it seems like you're adding that. It seems like they're adding this for effect and like not even just for artistic sake. Like they're adding it specifically to be bombastic and like get a reaction out of everyone. They want like this clippable, tweetable, memeable moment out of the episode by like every little thing. And it happened with Bomb like releasing all that Shinsu and taking out that girl's eye. Apparently that was just like a beam or like a laser, but the way that it was presented in that episode was a giant explosion and flood that like blew the curtains around the room and shook everything around. And like Rock throws a spear and now there's like wind trails and like smoke and explosions, and it just like all he did was throw a spear at a wall. It stuck in the wall. It was a good shot, but it like the force from it shakes the entire fabric of existence. Like they just get insane with their effects, and it makes me feel like they think I'm a baby who like needs this explosions and gratification in order to get engrossed in the actually good story and metaphors that are being told here with Bomb and Rachel. I don't like when they feel like they need to, you know, keep my attention with all these crazy explosions and fights when you can have fights and have everything be cool without like, I don't know, dangling some keys in front of my face or like showing me a light show, you know? I don't know.
I was just gonna say, I am especially excited for season 2 because of like these last like 3-ish episodes.
Yeah.
Because what I was talking about of like, oh, we don't see like the characters' relationships and their development. I know that they rushed getting there, but they spent enough time in those last 3 episodes to like show you how people cared about each other.
Yeah.
It still isn't like entirely, it was a bit rushed in how they got to that point, but at that point it was clear.
Yeah.
So, like the relationship with Endorsi and Enoch, that was really interesting to explore a little bit more in that like crazy situation where they could have died.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bomb and Rachel, obviously. And then Kun and Rachel. Just that little conversation at the end there, where you can tell that he distrusts her. Like, that's the kind of stuff that makes me excited for what's going to happen next.
Yeah, agreed.
The shot of Bomb looking all cool, that's what we've been looking at the whole time, by the way. It's really cool, but that's not why I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how the characters are going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And that shot, like, there's a mix of what I was talking about, too, with this shot of Bomb looking at the horizon. He's, like, standing on the horizon, and, like, in the foreground, there's, like, this mangled body of seemingly a monster that he probably was training and killing, or, like, training by killing it or whatever, fighting it. What makes me hype for the next season is not that he was able to do this to this monster and like imagine what he could do to another monster. I can't wait to see him go ham in a fight the next season. That's not what's cool. What's cool is look how he's changed. Look how he's like longing, and like he never longed for anything before. Like he really wanted to be with Rachel, but it was just because he wanted to help her. Now he's longing for answers. He wants to seek something.
And he's ready for it.
Yeah, and like you can see that he's changed as a person. That's what's interesting. It's not like it's exactly, I've said this for this entire season, for this for our entire channel. Whenever there's fights, people think that they like the fights, and people in Naruto, there's a thing called Talk no Jutsu. A lot of times in Naruto, when he fights, there's like a big point where he's talking to them and like it's a philosophical discussion, and he's just like, I do what I do because that's my ninja way, and I never go back on my word, and all this stuff. And like it's a jutsu because then he's like fighting people with his words. And people kind of meme on that because like that's why Talk no Jutsu is a meme, because he like they're like, oh, I just want to see the fights. This is so stupid. Like what? Oh, now he's using this power. Talk no Jutsu. Why don't you use Shadow Clone Jutsu and actually show me something worth seeing? But like I feel like they don't. When people say that, it's either they're just joking. But when people believe that, I don't understand personally what they like. Do you literally just want to see fights? If that's the case, you can look up just fights on YouTube. Like the reason you like the fight is because you like the characters and the story that's around it. The fight is just a vehicle for conflict and story progression. It's not, the end goal shouldn't be, I can't wait to see this training arc and like all this stuff and see how this character develops, because down the line we're going to see a crazy fight where we're going to see all these crazy powers and everything. That's all a like that's all a way of displaying conflict amongst characters and for in the pursuit of a character's goal. That's a big problem that I have with the community in general. So like with the shonen community in general, because I don't think that people actually like fights as much as they do. They don't realize that like dynamic. A lot of people don't think about that. They don't think about like, oh, why do I like this fight? Is it because these two characters who were previously like enemies like started working together and now they like achieved a new level of power and they're fighting, and that new level of power is cool? It's like, no, exactly like the way that I just explained that when they explain like what's cool about a fight. Oh, it's that these characters working together to defeat a common enemy, like in that kind of like tropey situation. I don't know. So like that's my hope for season 2, is that they focus less on this crazy bombast they focus more on why the characters are interesting and why the world is interesting, rather than trying to wow us with effects and like colors and animation. Yeah. I don't know.
I think this show would be really good to binge. I know anyone who's watching this would have already watched the show, but I feel like if I was telling someone to watch this, I would tell them to watch it in like 1 or 2 sittings.
I agree. 100%. I feel like this was meant to binge as well. I wish they just released it all at once, but they need like the hype of like the week-to-week release. That's the thing. I'm kind of glad that anime still does week-to-week, because like I don't think the show would have been as popular if it was just released once. Like I don't think anime is the kind of story, because it's like a 20-minute episode, not an hour-long one. I feel like anime is meant to be that like length of time between episodes is important, but with this show, I do feel like it would have been better if it was just if I binged it, I probably would have liked it more. Anyway, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say? I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it, without going even more off topic.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty. Well, for the few of you who've made it this far...
Wait, I'll just say, did we think it was worth watching? Yes. Yeah. I think it was worth watching.
Yeah, I think so. What I'm unclear about is whether it'll be worth watching in like 5 years. That's my question. It depends on if they continue it, obviously, but like 5 years after Hunter x Hunter came out, I'm still like, because Hunter x Hunter started airing in 2011, or at least the new series. Hunter x Hunter's still worth watching, and they continued it, but like I don't know whether it'll stand the test of time is I'm unclear on that. It depends. It does seem like it's just a really popular series right now, and people are kind of overhyping it. But it'll depend on whether they continue it or not. Because as a standalone show, as just a 13-episode run, I don't think that it's worth like super investing everything into. It's a good prologue for what comes next, but
it is a prologue. If it had been maybe a 24, 25 episode series, it might have been a good standalone thing. But because it didn't have that time, it really needs a second season. Because I don't think I would go back and watch this if I didn't have something to look forward to afterwards.
Yeah, because that whole Bomb and Rachel thing, that does feel like the start, you know?
Yeah.
That feels like an inciting incident for the rest of the shit that's going to happen. But, like, if it was a 24 to 26 episode series, and that was all leading up to this moment where she betrays him...
Then that would just be like...
Then it would be like, holy shit, that's a crazy betrayal ending. Like, to a full run. Like... But now it just feels like you are rushing to get to that moment because now the story can really start. That's what it feels like.
So I'd say it is worth watching, but as a setup for what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say I'd give a yes to a worth watching.
At this point, worth watching, yes. If they never make a second season,
then probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. And the thing is, that doesn't mean it's not good. I'm just thinking of, like, would I rather watch this, or would I rather watch, like, a show that I really, really love, that it is going to continue or something? Would I rather watch this or Steins Gate? And that doesn't mean, is this better than Steins Gate? That's not the question. It's like, if I'm sitting down, like, say, 3 years from now, I'm like, okay, I'm a new anime viewer, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch an anime. I have a bunch of shit that I can watch. I have, like, There's Fullmetal Alchemist I could start watching. There's Attack on Titan I could start watching. There's Steins Gate I could start watching. Let's say even they made it through all of those like starter anime watcher picks. There's still a bunch of classics. I could watch this or like Trigun or this or whatever. Another like I'm catching up and building my anime backlog. Should I watch Tower of God next? Maybe, I would say. If it continues, that'll probably turn into a yes.
I agree.
I'm optimistic about the future of the show.
I think so as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Alrighty.
I think that's a good note to leave on.
Alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Check out our Patreon in the description. Subscribe to our backup channel. Subscribe to this one. Like this video if you liked it. That really helps us out. On our Patreon, we got early reactions, exclusive reactions to all our student counselors who got this hours early before it was posted on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for pledging. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much to all of our patrons, especially those in the Student Council, Zenge,
Rising 80,
Catherine,
John Ortega,
Nicholas Teo,
Iwan Polgar,
Matthew Bremer,
Lewis,
and Vivsi. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.